Yes, sir.
How you doing, man?
Good,
Happy
Erik.
SHOT Show.
Thank you. You too. It's good to see you.
So, thanks for meeting me. Obviously,
course.
you guys did a whole tuner thing,
Yeah.
which it's great. Turn every stone, and I think maybe we're all learning something.
Yeah, it definitely not the whole story. You know, we did a test. Here's what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, excited to talk to you about it.
So, let me show you the testing I've done.
Yeah, great.
And maybe you can help me decipher it. I don't know. You know,
I'd love to see it.
I've done this test many times.
Okay.
But you know, this is so. Here's what I did. I loaded 40 shots.
Okay.
Everything the same. Load wise, identical.
Yep.
And I didn't want to do 20 and 20 because I was worried. So we shoot 20 shots all the time in competition.
Yep.
So I know I can do 20 shots and the gun's not going to get too hot or anything.
Sure.
But I didn't want to do 20. I didn't want to do 40.
Yeah, all at once.
So what I did is I did 10 and 10.
Okay.
I did 10 at tuner setting 0.
Okay.
And then at tuner setting 10, I believe. And those were it was my best setting,
Okay.
10. So I did that test twice.
Okay.
Okay. So this is tuner 0.
Okay. So a little bit of vertical.
So it's at 1,000 yards.
Uh-huh.
It is at 7:55 a.m.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. So you can see the vertical. It's good. It's a 10 shots, 8.23
Yep.
inches. Vertical is 7.96. So it's narrow, but it's tall.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then 7:55 a.m. 7:55.
Yep.
Okay. I just kept shooting, and all I did is stop and turn the tuner and kept shooting.
Okay.
Okay. And you can see this group is 4 inches. It's 9 shots.
Yep.
I don't know.
So almost like half the size.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay. So I did that, and that's it. I let the gun cool down.
Sure.
Okay. And so you can see vertical.
Yep.
0 is vertical. 10 is nice and round and 4 inches.
Yeah.
Right. Let the gun cool down. I left the setup, and then I shot both on the same target. You know, I just aim here and then aim here so that I could get a better visual.
Yep.
Of what they look like. Okay.
Yep.
So here's 0 again.
Uh-huh.
There's your vertical, and there's 10 again.
Okay.
Now this is at what time is it? This is at 9:10 a.m.
Okay.
versus 7:55. So I waited a bit over an hour.
Yep.
Okay.
Let everything cool off and
Yep, and did it again. And I've ran this test multiple times. So this is what I have, right? This is what I base myself, or obviously this right here, this tuner 0. I'm never going to win a match with that.
Sure.
It's 8.23 inches, and that's only 10 shots.
yeah. It ain't gonna get better.
20 shots.
We both agreed on that.
Yeah, it ain't gonna get better, right? So this one, and you can say, well, the next 10 shots, it may get that big, and I get that.
Oh,
But
yeah,
this
yeah.
is a
Yeah.
much better starting point. That's why I did it twice.
Agreed.
And
it could stay that good. Like you don't know.
Mirrored. It's not gonna get better. We know that.
Yes.
So and I ran the test again, and it mirrored, and that's it. I took that gun, won the nationals with it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
That's the test. So, some things to point out that I've noticed, and I don't have the data from my chronograph when I was shooting. I had it, and new chronographs have been released. I sold my old chronograph. I forgot to take the card, and the new user wiped the data.
Oh no!
I know.
Yeah, that's okay.
So, however, we do have the data from the chronograph at the target.
From the shot marker.
From the shot marker.
Yep.
Now, I don't put much confidence. I have very little confidence in that chronograph because it is not meant to be a chronograph.
Yes. So, data point there, we use shot markers as well. And we do the same thing. We don't put a ton of weight into the velocity that records at the target because it has the 2 different microphones on the wand, and it's essentially getting that from the separation of those two, which is fairly short.
Right.
However, we have seen it can be somewhat accurate on the average. So, because we run it against our radar, right? So the radar will record that. But I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
Like, I'll look at it, but I'm not going to put a ton of weight into it.
Right.
But we have seen it work decent. But
Yeah, and I want to show it to you. Let me. So, I want to show you what I noticed, because I'm sure the viewers would notice that as well.
Okay.
And so what I noticed, is shot. Okay, start with 0.
Yeah.
We have an ES of 29.9. Let's call that 30.
Yep.
At the target. And the other one has an ES of 13.
Yep.
Now, it's all the same, except, same bullet, same everything.
Right.
But somehow, the ES is less than half.
Yep.
10 shots, that's pretty good.
Yep.
So then when I did it again, you can see here as well, the ES of 47 for the tall group, 41.7, and 24 for the short, smaller group.
Yep.
Now, again, I don't put any confidence in that chronograph, but that is something that's there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is what I have, and maybe you can help me decipher.
Well, yeah.
or let me know what you see.
So I reach the same conclusion you do. So when I see so anytime I see a non-circular group, whether it's at short or long range, I pay attention to that. If it's at short range and it's not a circular, so this means like you've shot enough shots that a group should be circular, right? Like if you shoot 2 or 3 shots and they do this, well, you haven't shot enough to make a circle, so how could it be circular, right? But in this case, where you have, obviously a 10-shot group can become a circle. If they don't, and we get stringing like that, if it's at a short range, the first thing I look at is something within the rifle system. Like I've seen it with action screws that are loose, scope ring, right? It's something that's doing a linear shifting that's causing that. Because like from a dispersion standpoint, the random nature of the bullet's flight that creates the grouping, it's randomized. So you could have that happen. So I have seen it happen with like certain firearm systems where during feeding, the cartridge is bent at a certain angle and then it indexes to that same bent angle every time. That can cause like linear stuff. But obviously in this case, that's not happening.
Right, they were all single fed.
Yeah. So when I see vertical at distance, it's generally one of 2 things, which is velocity variation or drag variation. Obviously here we have some data that says that the velocity was higher on the ones that are strung more, but it's also data that we can't necessarily trust the velocity on because the device wasn't meant for that data. It's just kind of like an extra thing it has. So I reached the same conclusion there. Now, as far as, obviously the adjustment of the tuner, we make an adjustment of the tuner. That was really the only change to the system, and then we get 2 different results. So could it be that the tuner setting is what contributed to that happening? 100%. I'm not going to say it didn't because it was the only thing that changed. But I would want to do some additions. Like seeing that would make me want to go do that test with the radar, or the velocity. Like throw a Garmin or a Labrador, whatever you're going to measure velocity with, and get that data in a source outside of that. Yeah.
Right.
Because what this downrange velocity is what it's recording, right? It's recording the velocity at the target. If you record the velocity at the muzzle and at the target, you can start to make a picture on drag variability and you can account for that. Again, we both agree that this system isn't necessarily accurate enough in its measurements at the target to be able to do that. But getting the muzzle velocity, if your drag variability is low, generally it is, right? You're shooting a Burger bullet.
Right.
Yeah, Burger makes a really good bullet. So I wouldn't expect that to be the singular cause for the difference in the group. So we're kind of left to how much of it was velocity, how much of it was tuner. We don't know. So I would want to do more testing.
And so again, this is what I have, and obviously gives me confidence.
Yeah.
And I'm like, great, let's go. And like I said, and then I proceeded to actually win the nationals with this very
100%. I can see why. That thing shoots awesome.
Right. And so what I have been talking to was it Oler?
Yeah.
Because they have a system.
Yeah.
That
the 83.
I think it's 83. That would measure speed at the gun
target.
and the target.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get with them because they're just up the road from me in Austin.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get with them so that we can run more testing like this.
Yeah.
And because trust me, I also want to understand.
Sure.
I'm okay with magic as long as it works in my
in your favor.
in my favor. But I would like to be able to sit down and say, here's
here's
more
the data. Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe get you to help me decipher it, because trust me, all I can do is gather data, and I will interpret it a certain way. Obviously, you're going to interpret it at your level, which is
sure
at a different level, which I would like to learn from. But
100%.
Again, this is what I'm working on. This is the data that I have, and so that's why I say, yeah, of course they work.
Of course,
and benchers guys, and we all in competition. We use tuners, and a lot of times if we have unlimited sliders, and we may do 3-4 shots, but one of them, like I said, it's nice and round, and the gun, we call it to shoot on point. Sometimes you shoot and then you move it over, and then it goes that way, or it goes too far. You're like, this gun is shooting wide or it's shooting tall. And when you can turn the tuner and get the gun to shoot on point, where it's like the bullet's on the string. You move it and there it goes. And but anyway, that's all I got to show you.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate. Oh yeah, there's our target indicator. If you haven't seen it,
look at that.
Flashing the camera. Thing's blinding. Don't look at it. But yeah, no, that's great. I would love to do some more stuff. And we released that tuner podcast where. So what happened was we get a lot of people that I think they appreciate the way we put out information, and so they're like, do a tuner episode.
So do I. I watch your podcast. It's great.
So we got a tuner, and I won't say the name because that's not fair.
Yeah, that's not the point.
We got a tuner, right? There's all kinds of different ones. They've been around for a while. So we did that initial testing, kind of talked. So we had Mr. Seward on, which if you'd like to connect with Jeff, if you have any interest,
absolutely,
love to connect you with
absolutely.
Jeff. He's a great guy. But anyway, he kind of did the analytical and the modeling version of it, and then we just did that testing that I went over in the podcast. But by no means is that, and I think we talked about it in there, that it's not like completely conclusive, like we're making this statement or this statement. It's, hey, we did this test, this is what happened. But I want to look more into it because like your performance cannot be ignored, and the performance of so many people, right? I mean, many high performance shooters are using a tuner. And so I do want to look into it more, and we will. So some of the things that I think we got beat up on and some of the feedback was, well, you made full revolutions, and that's not correct. That's not the tuner's recommendation, which they don't know what tuner I use, so how do they know what the recommendation is? But regardless, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I am going to go back and do some testing with more fine adjustments of it, because if there's something there, I want to see it. Like I'm not opposed to it, but I'm biased towards letting the data tell the story, not like me or what I want to say. So I love that we can like work together and learn more. You know what I mean? Because I learned from you, you've learned some stuff from me, so it's awesome.
Trust me. If I can figure out a way to take that 4-inch group and shrink it to 2 inches, I'm game.
Absolutely, all of us are. You know.
Well, just tell me first.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying. I mean, that's what we're after.
All of us are. Yeah.
We're all after that edge that allows us to. What I always say is, imagine you have a 10-inch basket, and the size of your group is the size of the ball you're allowed to shoot the baskets with, right?
Yeah,
the smaller
that's a good
the
way
ball,
to think about it.
The more baskets you're going to make.
But
if you have a 10-inch basket and a 12-inch ball,
you better have everything right every time.
It ain't going to go. It's just not going to go. So that's and that's the name of the game. Of what I do. Yeah. It's truly a precision game, because I can shoot a perfect score, but whoever has more X's,
that's right,
wins.
That's right.
And it's come down to you shoot for 3 days and you lose by 1X.
Yeah,
which is
that's tough, man.
It is tough, and that's why we work so hard at just bringing the guns as good as possible.
Yep.
And that's why there's tuners, because obviously we believe that they help, and it's like, okay, I can shrink my groups, and but anyway. I'm glad we had this conversation.
Yeah, me too.
I appreciate it, and let's keep working and together and see if we can figure something out.
I'm all game, man. I look forward to it. It's awesome.
Perfect.
Thanks, Erik.
Thank you. Enjoy the show.
You too. Good to see you.